Late one night, feeling a little lonely, I ordered myself a small pleasure device. The person delivering it was the delivery driver I've been secretly admiring for 12 months. Wide shoulders, slim waist, endless legs. He had me completely mesmerized. At this moment he was bashfully passing me my package. Your purchase, the king-size model, has been delivered. Hope you'll rate me 5 stars. When I grabbed it, I sneakily touched his fingers. Suddenly floating comments appeared in front of me like magic. The gorgeous driver's pulse just jumped to 150. He's definitely feeling it. No kidding. He's been secretly in love with this rich boss forever. Hold on. Isn't this supposed to be a steamy romance? Why is nothing happening? They've been dancing around each other forever. Can we please get some heat, right? As he turned to go, desire overwhelmed me. Hold on. Interested in earning some side money? Ethan spun around, confusion written all over his face as he scratched his head. Side money? What do you mean? Those deep brown eyes looked just like a bewildered golden retriever. I gave him a flirtatious wink, my voice turning silky smooth. Sweetheart, you're out here working this late delivering packages. That's exhausting. How about you forget this delivery gig and come work exclusively for me? Ethan froze completely for 3 seconds before his face exploded into crimson. Sure, the job is exhausting, but I have self-respect. I would never compromise my integrity just for money. Wait, what he actually said? No, but those floating comments claimed he was into me, too. I refused to accept defeat. My voice stayed gentle and tempting. Don't turn me down so fast. Really consider it. Doesn't running around constantly wear you out? Come with me and I guarantee you'll experience paradise on earth. Ethan's face burned even brighter as he practically yelled. Never, absolutely never. I like women. I'd die before I'd be like that. After saying that, he covered his face and bolted away, leaving me standing there in total bewilderment. The truth is, I've been secretly crushing on him for an entire year. Every single day after draining work, seeing him was my only motivation. When I couldn't see him, I'd fantasize about him. The fantasies made me restless. The restlessness led me to impulse buy those pleasure devices. And the result? I'd fallen for a completely straight man. Straight up into guys. His jeans are practically splitting at the seams, yet he claims he's straight. Handsome driver. Better run now. You'll be crawling back, begging soon enough for real. Desperately waiting for that karma moment. My mind went blank briefly, then overwhelming excitement hit, crawling back like a dog. Can't wait to see how I'll tame him. I purchased a leash ahead of time, simply waiting for his arrival. However, 2 whole weeks went by with zero sign of him. During a stormy evening, I was deep in sleep. The doorbell blared insistently like an emergency. Alarm incredibly irritating. What inconsiderate person rings doorbells in the dead of night? I grumbled, flipped over and continued sleeping. What's happening? The classic drenched puppy begging for shelter scene is here. Well, he's sobbing so pathetically. Honey, get up. Your guy is outside. I shot up like a rocket and rushed to the door without shoes. Ethan stood there trembling, soaking wet, hair stuck messily against his face. A nasty scrape marked his cheekbone, blood still seeping out. His eyes were swollen and red, and seeing me made him break down completely. Dude, I crashed on the street tonight. Apparently he'd been making deliveries during severe weather. Slippery roads made his electric bikes get out during a sharp corner. Multiple injuries covered his body and the bike was completely wrecked. Multiple orders got ruined and went undelivered, triggering customer complaints. Those bastards. The company penalized me $200. I busted my ass for over 10 hours today. Completely wasted. This slave labor is killing me. I'd rather be your pet dog. Dying, laughing. If you want to be a pet, just admit it. Why the dramatic setup? True truth is, after leaving that night he was drowning in regret. Thoughts about your seductive energy kept him awake until sunrise. Nobody can say no to an irresistible temptation. Heat rushed to my face as I grabbed fresh clothes for him. Hit the shower first. Afterward, I'll take care of those injuries. Ethan finished bathing quickly and emerged from the bathroom. Droplets cascaded down his jawline onto his sculpted pecs. Sweet mercy. Nobody could handle this. All I wanted was to press my face against that chest and breathe him in. Dude, weren't you gonna help patch me up? I soaked a cotton pad in antiseptic and gently treated his cheek. Inches apart. Our breathing synchronized perfectly. Ethan's lips trembled sadly, moisture gathering in his eyes. Dude, you're genuinely kind. Every single customer out there is ruthless. Lightest in. Inconvenience. And they're reporting me, making me handle their garbage. You're different. You always say thanks and leave generous tips. Gathering courage, I pressed my lips softly against his. I just can't stand seeing helpless puppies suffer. Woof. Tonight, this puppy obeys every command from his owner. He enthusiastically pounced on me, nuzzling affectionately like an overjoyed dog. Hold up. This situation is spiraling out of control. This isn't an obedient puppy. This is a ravenous beast. Ethan, I'm commanding you to stop immediately. Everything's blurred out. Absolutely devastating. 5 solid hours now, give it a rest. You're going to break something. Is he even conscious? There's complete silence. Just moments ago he was making raspy sounds. Someone make noise? I managed a feeble whimper, peep. Ethan panicked, thinking I'd passed out and finally quit. Fury consumed me as I clutched my lower back and roared. What's wrong with you? You promised complete obedience. I explicitly told you to stop. But did you? So that whole obedient puppy personality was completely fabricated. Puppy looks devastated. Puppy makes sad noises. Puppy sits submissively by the headboard. Tears flowing nonstop. This was my first experience. Isn't losing control pretty understandable? If owner needs to punish me, then punish this puppy. Please do. Pain doesn't scare me. I just want owner satisfied. He's practically begging for it, so I'll oblige him. I retrieved the leash I'd stashed beneath my pillow, preparing to discipline him. The instant I lifted my arm, Ethan released a heart-wrenching wail. Seriously, you haven't even made contact and he's already screaming. Who claimed the dog top was simple-minded? This is pure manipulation, honey. Discipline him. Don't buy into his sympathy tactics. You're completely unhinged. That's not abuse. Proper training. You're the unhinged one. This isn't training. This is cruelty. The comment section erupted in chaos. Ethan sobbed dramatically. Owner, can you truly bring yourself to hurt me? I'm so pitiful. Left home years back. Blew through every penny partying. Forced into delivery work just to eat. Nearly killed myself working. Just when I find someone caring, I'm facing punishment. Distance is brutal. His crying performance was theatrical, perfectly orchestrated. Despite recognizing the manipulation, sympathy overwhelmed me. Thud. I released the leash and held his face tenderly. My fingertips carefully erased every tear trail. Sweet boy, stop crying. Punishment's cancelled. Nobody gets to mistreat you ever again. You're under my protection now. I'll handle earning income. You just focus on being gorgeous at home. Ethan's tears transformed into radiant smiles as he peppered my face with kisses. God help me. My heart is absolutely liquefying. Throughout the workday, concentration became impossible. Ethan consumed every thought, making business documents incomprehensible. My precious puppy and I cannot tolerate any separation. Come evening, returning home became an obsession. Ethan had assembled dinner for entrees, soup, fruit platter. Taste test it. I studied cooking tutorials online. Incredible. Absolutely perfect. Puppy is phenomenal. I devoured everything until grease coated my lips. Cheeks bulging comically. His expression radiated pure satisfaction. That invisible tail practically spinning. Shouldn't owner provide some kind of reward? Absolutely. Even without asking, I'd already planned something. I mysteriously presented him with a medication container. Ethan's smile froze. The floating comments exploded instantly. Puppy has been baited. He thinks it's a luxury watch. Wait until he reads the label. Suspicion crept across his face. Medicine. I nodded. Vitamins. He looked relieved. Then he read the label. Joint support. Back and muscle recovery. The relief vanished. His ears turned red. Slowly, painfully, he raised his eyes toward me. You bought this for me? No. I took a sip of water. It's for the person who nearly destroyed my spine. The comments immediately lost their minds. Critical hit. Puppy has taken emotional damage. He will never recover. Ethan covered his face. I said I was sorry. You also said you'd obey commands. And then ignored every single one. His head lowered another inch. I almost laughed. Almost. The giant golden retriever sitting across from me looked so miserable that my anger evaporated. Ethan peeked at me through his fingers. You aren't still mad, right? I am. Oh, but I'll forgive you. His eyes lit up instantly. Really? Under one condition. He leaned forward. What condition? I slid a document across the table. He blinked, then blinked again. It was an employment contract. Salary, benefits, housing allowance, medical insurance, vacation days. The monthly pay alone was more than he'd make in several months of deliveries. Ethan stared at the numbers, then at me, then back at the numbers. His jaw dropped. Dude, what? This is ridiculous. You deserve better than getting yelled at by customers all day. But this salary, you cook. Yeah. You clean. Yeah. You make my life less miserable. His expression softened. And, I smiled. And I like having you around. For a moment, Ethan just looked at me. The joking expression disappeared. The teasing vanished too. What remained was something warm, something honest. Carefully, he signed the contract. The comments started crying. The stay-at-home boyfriend arc is real. He's won. Mission accomplished. Days turned into weeks. Weeks turned into months. Having Ethan around became dangerously addictive. Whenever I came home, dinner was waiting. Whenever work stressed me out, he listened. Whenever I complained about investors, he'd hand me snacks and tell me everyone else was stupid. Strangely effective. Life settled into a comfortable routine. Then one afternoon, everything exploded. I was attending a meeting when my phone began vibrating nonstop. Messages, calls, notifications, dozens of them. I frowned and opened the first one. A photograph filled the screen. Ethan, standing beside a luxury car, talking to a beautiful woman. The caption read, Local CEO's boyfriend exposed. Secret wealthy girlfriend discovered. I stared at the screen. The room fell silent. Another message arrived. Then another. Then another. Apparently the photo had gone viral. The comments appeared. Oh no. Misunderstanding arc activated. Everybody stay calm. Nobody is going to stay calm. I stood up. The meeting participants looked terrified. Reschedule everything. Sir. Now. My expression must have been frightening because nobody argued. Half an hour later, I burst through my front door. Ethan. Silence. Ethan. Footsteps thundered downstairs. He appeared holding a spatula. Oh, you're home early. I shoved my phone in his face. What is this? He looked at the picture, then at me, then back at the picture. Oh, that's my sister. The entire room went quiet. The floating comments collapsed. We waited 3 months for that? That's his sister? Quit. Ethan scratched his head. She came back from overseas yesterday. Your sister? Yeah. The one in the photo? Yeah. The woman everybody thinks you're secretly dating? Yeah. I stared at him. He stared back. Then realization struck. His eyes widened. Wait. A grin slowly spread across his face. Dude. No. Are you jealous? I am not jealous. You ran home from work. I did not. You definitely did. I definitely didn't. Ethan laughed so hard he nearly dropped the spatula. And unfortunately for me, that was the exact moment I realized he was right. You ran home from work. I did not. You definitely did. I definitely didn't. Ethan laughed so hard he nearly dropped the spatula. And unfortunately for me, that was the exact moment I realized he was right. The comments immediately started celebrating. He admitted it to himself. Character development. The Tsundere CEO is cracking. Pointed at him. Stop smiling. His grin widened. No. You're enjoying this far too much. A little. A little. Okay, a lot. Before I could retaliate, Ethan suddenly stepped forward and wrapped his arms around my waist. The attack was completely unfair. I froze. He rested his chin on my shoulder. Sorry. For what? For making you worry. My irritation evaporated instantly. How was I supposed to stay angry when he sounded genuinely guilty? I sighed. You should have told me your sister was visiting. You never asked. Nobody asks that. You could have. I opened my mouth, then closed it, because annoyingly enough he had a point. The comments were having the time of their lives. Puppy wins again. Undefeated record continues. CEO has been outplayed. A few days later, Ethan's sister arrived for dinner. The moment she walked through the door, she pointed at me dramatically. So you're the guy. I nearly choked on my drink. The guy. The guy my brother won't stop talking about. Across the table, Ethan turned bright red. Hey! What? You promised not to tell him. She ignored him completely. For months all I heard was, he's nice. He's smart. He tips well. Ethan buried his face in his hands. Please stop. He remembered my birthday. Stop. He bought me soup when I was sick. Please. His smile is Ethan's sister. Yes? Continue. Ethan looked ready to jump out a window. The comments were dying. Expose him. Everything makes sense now. He was down bad from the beginning. By the time dinner ended, I'd learned two important things. First, Ethan had apparently been crushing on me for nearly as long as I'd been crushing on him. Second, his sister found this endlessly entertaining. Life continued peacefully after that, for approximately 11 days. Then Ethan announced he wanted a job. I stared at him. A job? Yes. You already have one. I live here. Correct. That's not a job. You cook. Yes. You clean. Yes. You remind me to sleep. Also yes. Sounds like a full-time position. Ethan groaned. I'm serious. So am I. He folded his arms. I folded mine. A staring contest began. 5 minutes later he won. Mostly because he looked like a disappointed puppy, which was my greatest weakness. What kind of job? He smiled immediately. I want to study. The room went quiet. I blinked. Study? Yeah. His voice became softer. I dropped out years ago. The playful expression disappeared. I always wanted to go back. Something twisted in my chest. Because for the first time, Ethan wasn't joking. He wasn't being dramatic. He genuinely wanted this. Then do it. His eyes widened. Really? Why wouldn't you? I thought you'd say no. I laughed. Ethan. Yeah. I didn't bring you here to keep you trapped. For a moment he just stared. Then he threw himself at me so suddenly that I almost fell off the couch. The comments melted. Healing arc. Healing arc. We love to see it. A year later, Ethan was thriving. He was studying, making friends, actually planning for the future. Meanwhile, I found myself sitting alone in my office one evening, staring at an old delivery receipt I'd somehow never thrown away. The very first one. The order that had started everything. A ridiculous purchase. A ridiculous conversation. A ridiculous man. The office door opened. Ethan peeked inside. There you are. I smiled. There you are. He walked over and sat on the edge of my desk. What are you looking at? I showed him the receipt. Recognition hit instantly. Then he started laughing. You're sentimental. Don't tell anyone. Too late. He leaned over and kissed my forehead. The comments appeared one final time. 1 year later and they're still obnoxiously in love. Mission complete. See you in the sequel. For once, nobody argued with them. For once, nobody argued with them. Or so we thought. 3 days later, Ethan came flying through the front door holding a sheet of paper. Dude! I looked up from my laptop. What happened? I got accepted. My brain stopped for half a second. Then I was already on my feet. Accepted where? He practically launched the letter at me. The program he'd applied for. The one he'd been quietly stressing about for months. The one he pretended not to care about every time I asked. Accepted. I looked back up. Ethan was trying very hard to act calm. The giant smile ruining his attempt completely. You got in. I got in. You actually got in. I know. I laughed. Then he laughed. Then somehow we were both laughing. The comments appeared. Look at them. They're prouder than the admissions office. That night we celebrated with takeout, cake, and an unreasonable amount of sparkling juice. The next morning, however, disaster struck. Ethan stared at his phone, then stared harder, then slowly turned toward me. Dude! I immediately recognized that tone. What? I think I'm famous. What? He handed me the phone. A video was playing. Someone had recorded him helping an elderly woman carry groceries after class. The clip had somehow exploded online. Millions of views. Thousands of comments. Half the internet was calling him Golden Retriever Boyfriend. I started laughing. Ethan did not. This isn't funny. It absolutely is. They found my social media.
I left harder.
They're making fan edits. At that point I nearly fell off the couch. The comments were hysterical. He's been discovered. The internet has adopted him. There is no escape. For the next month, random people recognized him everywhere. Students, cashiers, baristas. One woman asked for a selfie while he was buying bananas. Meanwhile, my own employees had begun treating this situation as the greatest source of entertainment in company history. Then came the final betrayal. My assistant walked into my office carrying a folder. Sir. Yes. Human Resources has a request. I opened the folder. Inside was a company proposal. A company calendar. Featuring Ethan. I stared at it. They want to do what? He tested extremely well with focus groups. I looked up slowly. Focus groups. The results were overwhelming. I closed the folder. No. Understood. Absolutely not. Of course. A pause. Then she added. The focus groups called him adorable. I pointed toward the door. Leave. She left. Immediately. The comments were losing their minds. CO jealousy detected. Threat level moderate. That evening I told Ethan the entire story. He laughed so hard he nearly dropped his drink. A company calendar? Don't encourage them. They wanted 12 months of me? They wanted 24. His eyes widened. No way. I rubbed my temples. The marketing department has lost its mind. By now Ethan was wheezing. Then suddenly he stopped. His expression softened. What? He smiled. You know, a year ago I was delivering packages in the rain. I looked at him. And now I'm studying. He glanced around the house. I'm happy. The room grew quiet. No jokes. No teasing. Just honesty. Then Ethan grinned. And I still think it's hilarious that you tried to hire me as a pet. I groaned immediately. We agreed never to discuss that. We absolutely did not. Yes, we did. You imagined that conversation. The comments returned one last time. He will never live it down. Not even in 10 years. Some memories are forever. Unfortunately, they were probably right. 3 years later, they were definitely right. Dude. No. I haven't even said anything. The answer is still no. Ethan stood in the kitchen holding a photo album. A very dangerous photo album. One containing evidence. Specifically, evidence of the worst decision I'd ever made. The employment contract. The leash. The receipt. Every embarrassing moment of our relationship preserved forever. Your future children deserve to know. Our future children deserve better. They deserve the truth. The truth is classified. Ethan gasped dramatically. You're trying to rewrite history. I'm trying to protect my dignity. The comments appeared immediately. There was never any dignity to protect. We were there. The evidence is overwhelming. 3 years had changed a lot. Ethan had finished his studies. I'd somehow become less of a workaholic. The company had doubled in size. And despite everyone's expectations, we still hadn't gotten tired of each other. It was annoying, honestly. Most couples eventually became less clingy. We somehow got worse. If Ethan went away for a weekend conference, I'd find myself staring at my phone every 10 minutes. If I traveled for business, he'd call just to ask what I was eating. Once he called because he'd seen a dog that reminded him of me. I still wasn't sure whether to be offended. One afternoon, while I was reviewing reports, my office door burst open. My assistant looked panicked. "Sir, what happened? There's someone demanding to see you." I frowned. "Who?" "He says he's your boyfriend." I blinked. "My boyfriend?" "Yes." I slowly stood up. "That's impossible." "Why?" "Because my boyfriend has a key." The door opened. Ethan walked in carrying a giant box. The assistant looked betrayed. "You said you were his boyfriend." "I am." "You didn't say you were actually his boyfriend." Ethan considered that. "Fair point." The assistant left in defeat. I pointed at the box. "What's that?" "A surprise." "I don't trust surprises." "You will." He opened it. Inside was a puppy. An actual puppy. Tiny. Golden. Fluffy. His tail was wagging so hard its entire body shook. I stared at it. The puppy stared at me. The puppy sneezed. The comments exploded. He got him a puppy. After all these years. The prophecy is complete. Ethan. Yeah. You bought a dog. You like dogs. I like one dog. He pointed at himself proudly. Exactly. I laughed despite myself. The puppy immediately climbed into my lap. Traitor. Within 5 minutes I'd already accepted defeat. Ethan looked unbearably pleased. "What should we name him?" I glanced at the puppy. The puppy glanced back. Then I looked at Ethan. A terrible idea entered my mind. A wonderful, terrible idea. A smile slowly spread across my face. Ethan became suspicious immediately. "Why are you smiling like that?" "I have the perfect name." His eyes narrowed. "No. You don't even know what it is." "I know it's going to be awful." The puppy barked. I pointed dramatically. "Puppy Junior." Ethan dropped onto the couch. "No!" The comments were screaming. "Puppy Junior." The legacy continues. History repeats itself. The puppy barked again. And unfortunately for Ethan, it sounded suspiciously like agreement.